Okay, guys, trader worth the risk here of the crypto collective, and I just wanted to record a quick video update for you guys because I think we're coming to a really important point in the price action on Bitcoin here. So, for those of you who have been following some of my posts, I haven't shared this idea too much recently, but I'm looking at Bitcoin right now as a potential Wyckoff accumulation pattern. So in this video, I'm just going to go over really briefly what I'm looking for here for this pattern to play out. And I'm just going to give a quick update on my last post. So some of you guys, I'm sure some of you would have seen my last two posts. I posted about Ethereum being distribution and also Bitcoin being a distribution pattern as well. So that was it's already played out quite well since then. We had the sell-off from the distribution here, and now we've come back to the kind of defined support area. So you can see from this area we've had almost five or six, seven kind of touches. So it's definitely an important area. And even though we haven't had a sharp kind of reaction from this bottom area that I've marked out, we're starting to get a bit of buying momentum here. There a lot of volume came in. You can see on this red candle here, the buying volume actually matched the amount of selling volume in the last candle. So that's definitely a positive sign. So what do we need to see BTC do here? Well, we need to see BTC come above 35,300 or so with a strong bounce, and then that can give us the potential sign that this Wyckoff accumulation is going to be true. So as you can see on the chart, I know it's probably a bit confusing for a lot of people that don't know the Wyckoff methodology. But I've got some images here from our Discord members area. A lot of these are also available for free on the internet. If you look up stockcharts.com, you can get the free versions of the Wyckoff schematics, but there's just heaps of different ones. Most of the Wyckoff methodology, the content comes from like the 1930s and 1950s. So a lot of the schematics out there, they have errors on them. There's a few different ones around. So I've compiled all the different ones I found on the internet in our Discord server. So this image is going to explain to you just the concept of market phases. So at the start of the market phase, we have accumulation where there's heavy buying, the early adopters and usually the institutions and stuff like that. We have the reaccumulation phase where more buying occurs. That leads to another markup. We have accumulation markup, reaccumulation, another markup phase, and then that will lead to distribution. We have markdown and then redistribution, and then the market cycle can start again with accumulation. So zooming in, um, we had the distribution, which was my last post here on Bitcoin. And we also had another distribution pattern on Ethereum, which I shared on the Crypto Collective Facebook page. So they both played out, and then we actually had a few little redistributions. We had three in a row. So now we've actually come to the support. We've had a few markdowns, as you can see. So now we have the potential of another accumulation to start down here. We don't know if it's gonna if we don't go lower, if we're gonna go lower or we're gonna start to bounce here, but it definitely is starting to look positive. So in this second image here, we can see, just to give a really brief explanation of the Wyckoff methodology for accumulation, a trading range is formed. So as you can see, let's go to the line chart for this and just take some of these levels off, just a bit easier. So just for a really basic explanation, you can see that a trading range is formed and the price is kind of swinging between this area. So in the Wyckoff methodology, the idea is that large institutions and players in the market, they can't just buy outright. If they were to buy outright, by the time they fill their buy orders, the price is already going to react and start to move up at a fast rate. So they create these trading ranges and they trick traders. So traders see a bounce, they get long here, and then these larger players may try and push the price down to trigger their stop losses. All these stop losses trigger a huge amount of sell orders, and these large players have their buy orders there waiting. So as the momentum of all the selling comes through, they're buying, so a massive transfer of wealth can occur, and the demand of the institutions is absorbing all the supply of the asset. So that's just a really basic explanation of a Wyckoff of accumulation Wyckoff methodology with a spring. So you can see we've bounced here. We're bouncing right off this key kind of support area. So it's definitely a positive sign. And as you can see in this image here, we create the range, and towards the end, we quickly come underneath the support of the trading range before we come back inside of it. And then that should lead to a really strong upwards movement where the price breaks outside of the range. So let's pull up my image again. So you can see we clearly made a trading range here, and now we uh, towards the end of the trading range over here where I've labeled spring, you can actually see that although we didn't take out all these support levels over here, we still actually took out a few over here. So that could still be classed as a spring. Now, after you see a spring in a Wyckoff, so in this image, number 8 is the spring, and number 10 is when the price comes back inside of the support area. So we've got the spring here, and we've got number 10 where the price came back inside of the area, and that leads to a strong upwards movement. But then we need to see the confirmation, and the confirmation, we usually have an LPS, last point of support, followed by a sign of strength. So we had a last point of support here, a sign of strength, that got rejected as a distribution. And now we've actually come back to the last point of support. So this is a support here, and we also have one down here. So the fact, uh, just a second, the fact that we're bouncing from this area still gives us a, the potential for this Wyckoff accumulation pattern to play out here. The warning sign is going to be if we don't actually make a low here. Sorry, if we make a new low here, if we don't bounce now, and the price comes down and rejects off this area like so, and then we go downwards, then it's going to be a big warning sign for Bitcoin. But until that happens, we should always be bullish at support. We can see a buying reaction occurring here. So this is the price action I'm looking for, labeled in white, looking for the another push, and then a bounce off the previous support here one last time before a really strong move for the breakout of the range. I'm going to link in the description my last video that I shared to the paid members of our Discord, and in that video I went over the accumulation even more in depth. So I'm going to share that with you guys. It's about 5 days old now, just so you can understand my plan further on Bitcoin. And just to finish up, I'm going to cover one important thing as well. So the Bitcoin dominance, I'll just clean up the chart just quickly. So we had a pattern called the bump and run bottom on the Bitcoin dominance earlier, and that led to quite a strong down move on altcoins. So this is the image for the bump and run bottom. So as you can see in this pattern, it kind of makes like a J, almost like a hook shape. At first, it's got a little bump phase, as you can see here. Then we've got a kind of hook shape, and it comes around and breaks out. And then that that is a strong pattern, and it usually hits the upper target area. So on the Bitcoin dominance, which the Bitcoin dominance shows us how much percent of the market Bitcoin controls, we had that pattern play out here, which was a really bad sign for altcoins. It showed us that money was starting to heavily flow into Bitcoin and out of everything else in the market. So the dominance increased from there, it increased from 43% to 46%. And now we're kind of hovering between these two important areas at 50% to 43%. So this is still a dangerous thing for altcoins. We need to see the Bitcoin dominance have a strong rejection, which will give us a sign that a lot of money is flowing out of Bitcoin and into altcoins. So I've got my support and resistance levels here for the Bitcoin dominance. And as you can see, we're bouncing right off this kind of key area here. So back in 2018, when the Bitcoin dominance bounced from 35%, that led to a massive decrease in altcoins as investors sold their altcoins in panic to flock back into Bitcoin. So this is going to be one of the major things to keep an eye out for trading altcoins until we see a good sign that money is flowing back into them. It's safe to assume that most of them are probably still not in a very good position to trade or to buy. Ethereum, let's have a quick look at. So yeah, Ethereum it's actually quite similar. Look, I'll go back to the BTC chart. You can see that if we go back here on BTC, you can see we had this area where we had the spring, and we didn't actually completely go under the support, but we came and tapped it. Now let's get out of this replay on Bitcoin and let's go back to Ethereum. And you can actually see here, we're doing something quite similar. You know, we've got this kind of range here, and we've fallen underneath these two support areas, like so. If Ethereum can get back above this area, which is about 2,320 or so, then I think we have a strong probability of pushing at least back up to 2,700, maybe to 2,600. If it gets rejected here with strong volume and a large red candle, like so, large red candle, then I think Ethereum is probably going to be heading back towards 1,800, potentially even 1,500 as Bitcoin dominates the market. But right now, I think it looks positive for the bulls to take back control of the market and Bitcoin to start uptrending again. So that's it for me, guys. It's a really quick update. Make sure you check the description of the video for the last members update, which I'm going to share with you guys, which goes even more in depth about my plan for Bitcoin and how to identify an accumulation pattern. I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks a lot.